Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this beautiful 3-layered baby ball dress. It is so simple, detailed and beginner friendly. So if you're interested and you want to know how this was made, please keep watching. And if today is your first time on this channel, please click on the subscribe button and also on your notification bell so you get notified whenever we post a new video. So yeah, I'm going ahead to cut out my fabric for the upper bodice of the gown I'm going to be making. So here I have my fabric and I'll be cutting the fabric and the lining at the same time. So this is for the front and this is for the back. So when folding your fabric, you're going to be folding using the bust divided by 4 plus your sewing allowance. Then for the back, you'll be folding using your bust divided by 4 plus your zipper allowance and your sewing allowance. And I am cutting the front on fold. So I'm going to go ahead to place the front on the back this way like you see me doing. This part here is going to be serving as the zipper allowance for the ball dress I am going to be making. So next I'll go ahead to draw a straight line at the top of my fabric like this. This line here is going to be serving as the shoulder line. After doing this, I'm going to go ahead to start inserting my measurement. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to insert my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I'm starting from the front block. I'm going to go ahead to place the shoulder measurement divided by 2 at this point, and I'll go ahead to mark. After marking it, I'll be coming down by 0.5 inch for the shoulder slope. Then from that point, I'll go ahead to insert the armhole depth. Then I'll go ahead to connect the points with my ruler like this. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert the bust divided by 4 at this point and mark. After marking it, I'll be adding a sewing allowance of 1.5 inch on the side like this. Next, I'll move over to the waistline and I'll be marking the waist divided by 4 also. I'll go ahead to mark. Then I'll insert my sewing allowance at this point and mark. Next, I'll connect these 2 points together with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. After doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw the armhole for the dress I am making. So because I'm drafting for the front and the back, I'll be drawing the back armhole first, then I'll go ahead to draw the front armhole. So in drawing the front armhole, what I'll be doing is to divide what I have at this point by 2, then I'll go in by 0.5 inch like this. Next, I'll go ahead to connect it with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So this is what the front armhole is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the neckline, and I'm going to go ahead to measure a neck width of 2.75. The neck width for the front and the back is the same, and remember I am taking my measurement from the front block. So I'm going to go ahead to mark the neck width at this point like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'll be inserting the neck depth, and I'll be using 1 inch for the neck depth of the back. After marking that 1 inch, I'll go ahead to draw the back neckline with my ruler like this. The next I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw the neck depth for the front. So I'm marking a neck depth of 3 inch for the front. I'm going to go ahead to draw the neckline with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. After which I'll go ahead to draw the shoulder slope for the dress I am making. So what I have from the shoulder to the waist is the half length for the upper bodice of the gown I'm making. So this is what the upper bodice is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out, and when cutting, I'm going to go ahead to cut out the back bodice first, then I'll separate it and cut out the front bodice. So just watch what I'm doing and follow the same process. So after cutting, this is what the front and the back block of the upper bodice of the gown I'm making is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to start stitching. What I'm going to go ahead to do is to join the main fabric together. So I'm going to go ahead to join the shoulders of the main fabric together, and I'll also be doing the same thing for the lining also. I'll be joining the shoulders of the lining together like this. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that. So after joining the shoulders together, this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join my lining to my main fabric, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to place my lining on my fabric like this. Then I'll go ahead to arrange it, making sure that the neck and the armhole area are aligning, and also the good face of my fabric and my lining are facing each other. After arranging it, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to go over my sewing machine to sew the neckline area. I'm going to go ahead to close up the neckline area, the armhole area, the sides, and also the zipper area. So I'm going to go over my sewing machine to quickly do that. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. This is what it's going to look like after joining my fabric to the lining. This is what I had after doing that. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to notch the armhole area and also the neckline of the upper bodice. So after notching it, I'm going to go ahead to turn it over to the good face, and I'll be doing that through the shoulder. I'm going to go ahead to pull it out like you see me doing in the video. So you just have to be careful and be patient while doing this. This is what I have after turning to the good face. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to give it a good press. After I was done giving it a good press, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's looking so neat and looking so beautiful already. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the sides of the bodice together. So I'm going to go ahead to arrange it, after which I'll go over my sewing machine to join the sides of the bodice together. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done joining the side of the upper bodice together, this is what I have. This is what you should have after you're done joining the upper bodice together. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach a belt to this bodice you see here. So I went ahead to cut out this long strip you see here. The width of the long strip is 2.5 inch, and I sewed 0.5 inch as my sewing allowance. So I went ahead to sew it and turned it over to the good face, and what I have left here is 2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to place this belt you see here on the waist area. I'm going to be placing the midpoint of the belt on the midpoint of the upper bodice like you see me doing in the video, after which I'll go over my sewing machine to secure it on the waist area and also on the side. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that now, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done attaching the strip to the waist area, this is what I have. So this is what you should have when you're done attaching the strip, and the part I have left here is going to be used as the belt for the gown that I'm making. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the lower part of the gown, and in doing that, the first thing I'll be doing is to measure what I have on the waist area. So you're going to go ahead to measure what you have on the waist area like you see me doing in the video. After measuring what I have on the waistline, what I got was 25.5. So I'm going to be using this 25.5 to calculate the half circle I'm going to be cutting for the lower part, because the lower part of the dress is going to be a half flay. So I'm going to go ahead to divide this 25.5 by 3.14, and after dividing, what I got was 7.8. So I'm going to be using that 7.8 as the radius of the waist for the flay I am going to be cutting out. For the lower part of the gown that I'm making, I'm going to be making use of my lining to cut out the flay for the lower part of the gown. Then I'll go ahead to pleat my main fabric on it. So if you have more fabric, you can use the same fabric you're using to make the dress to cut the flay for the lower part. I don't have enough fabric, that is why I'm using my lining to do that. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut this half circle. That is the half flay I'll be using for the lower part of the gown. So remember, after calculating, what I got was 7.8. The next you're going to go ahead to do now is to minus your half length from your full length. So the full length of the gown I'm making is 29 and the half length is 8 inch. When I minus 8 from the 29, what I was left with was 21 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to add the radius I just calculated, which is 7.8 to the 21 inch. Then I'm going to go ahead to cut the half flay using 29 inch. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to measure 29 inch on my lining like you see me doing. Then I'm going to go ahead to fold it like this. After folding it like this, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to place it in form of a triangle. So I'll take this part and place it on this part like this. So after folding it, what you should be having is a triangle. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to secure with my pins. Then I'll go ahead to take my measurements. After securing with my pins, next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to measure my radius from this point. That is the waist divided by 3.14, and I got 7.8. I'm going to go ahead to place my tape this way, and I'm going to go ahead to mark the 7.8 all the way around. So I'll be rotating the tape on the lower part while the tape on the tip is going to remain where it is like you see me doing in the video. So this part I'm marking here is going to serve as the radius of the flame. After marking this radius, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to take out the gown length from this part. I'm going to go ahead to measure what I have left. So I'm going to be placing my tape like this, starting from the half length, which is 8 inch. Then I'm going to go ahead to take the full length of the gown like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to take the full length all the way around. So you place your tape starting from your half length at this point, then you go ahead to rotate it all the way around like you see me doing in the video. So after I was done taking out the measurement, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So after cutting it out, this is what we are going to be having. When I open this up, you're going to discover that it's a half flay. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to divide what I have at this point into 3, because we are making a 3-layer dress. So I'm going to go ahead to measure what I have here, and what I have here is 20 inch. I'll go ahead to divide the 20 inch into 3, and I went ahead to mark 7 inch like you see me doing in the video. So the first flay is going to be on the waist, the second one is going to be at this point, then the last flay is going to be at this point. Next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to go ahead to extend the lines like you see me doing in the video. So after I was done extending the lines, this is what I have. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out the strip that I'm going to be pleating on each of the layers. And to know the width of the strip you're going to be cutting, what you're going to go ahead to do is to measure what you have on each of the layers. So I'm going to go ahead to place my tape and measure what I have from the waist to this part like this. So what I have here is 7 inch. I'm going to go ahead to add at least 2 inch to this 7 inch, because the first layer is to overlap on the second layer a little, so you're not going to be cutting the exact 7 inch you have at that point. So I'm going to go ahead to cut my strip to be 9 inch, and I'll be adding 0.5 inch also, because I'll be folding the hem of the strip I'm going to be cutting. So the next thing to do now is to determine the length of the strip you are going to be cutting, and in doing that, what you are going to go ahead to do is to measure the length of each of the layers. So after taking the measurement of each of the layers, you're going to go ahead to multiply that by either 2 or 3 to cut out the strip, because you are going to be gathering or pleating that on each of the layers. So you're not going to be cutting the exact measurement you took on the layer. So what you're going to go ahead to do now is to measure what you have on the waist area and also on the other layers. So you're going to go ahead to measure what you have at this point, and also on the last layer. Then you go ahead to cut your strip to be at least ×2 or ×3 of whatever measurement you got there, because you're going to be pleating it on each of the layers. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out my strip. So after cutting out my strip, this is what I have. I've gone ahead to cut out the strip for each of the layers, and this is what I have. I also went ahead to hem one part of the strip while the other part was not hem. So this is what it's going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach the strip to my flay like this. So I'm going to go ahead to open up the flay and I'll be attaching it. So when attaching it, you can decide to make it a gathers and you can decide to pleat it on it. So for me, I'm going to be pleating on it. So I'm going ahead to extend the lines all around like you see. Next, I'm going to go ahead to pleat my strip on it like you see me doing in the video. So before pleating your strip on it, you're going to go ahead to hem the lower part of the flay. After hemming the lower part of the flay, you can go ahead to start placing your strip on it. And when placing your strip, you're going to be placing it like this, making sure the good face of your strip is facing your lining like this. Then you go ahead to pleat on it all the way around and you stitch like this, so that after sewing and you turn it over to this part, it's going to have a good face on this other side. So when pleating on this layer, you're going to be pleating it, placing the strip like this. Then you go ahead to stitch all around. You'll be repeating the same process on the second layer also, but on the first layer you're going to be placing it like this. Then you go ahead to pleat on the waist area. So I'm going to go over my sewing machine to quickly do that, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after I was done pleating the strip on my lining, this is what I have. So this is what the waist area look like, and this is what the second layer look like. So you're going to be sewing on this part so that when it is being turned over, you're going to be having a neat finishing like this. And this is what the first layer also look like. I also went ahead to hem my lining like this. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the upper bodies to the skirt part. So I'm going to go ahead to place my upper bodies on the skirt part like this, making sure that the good face of my upper bodies is facing the good face of my fabric. Next, I'm going to go ahead to join the two of them together. So after I was done attaching the upper bodies to the skirt part of the gown, this is what we have. As you can see, it's looking so beautiful and it came out looking really nice. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to close up the back and fix my zipper to the gown. And in doing that, I'm going to go ahead to turn the gown to the wrong face like you see me doing in the video. So after turning it to the wrong face, this is what you are going to be having. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to fix my zipper on this part. Then I'll go ahead to close up the lower part of the gown. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that. Then I'll come back to show you the final look of the gown. So after I was done fixing my zipper and closing up the back of the gown, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's looking so beautiful and it came out looking very nice. So if this video was helpful to you, please don't forget to drop a like and a comment. And also, if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial.